Alright, it's time to talk about a few of the things I don't like about the Alpha after just over 12 months of ownership and primarily using it as a towing vehicle. As you can see now, it's still hooked up to the van. And some of the things I don't like that are just, things that I don't like. So let's point a few of them out. One of them is you don't have keyless entry on the rear doors. Make or break deal? Maybe not, but no keyless entry there, only on the front. This factory trailer plug, I'm not fussed about it being 13 pin, but really? So the current setup for us is I have to have an adapter like this to get from their 13 pin. That's obviously their factory supplied plug to get to 7. From the 7, I've got an adapter in here to get to my elect brake. So that's going to be changed because that's insane. Too many fail points, but that plug's got to change first, and then we've got to do, as a lot of people are doing obviously, is just moving that plug and making it more sensible. So that's silly. I've never been a big fan of these plastic crappy wheel arches. I already scraped this one, and because it's what it is, this silly scrape through the paint, and I don't know, just not a fan. So they need a revisit. Surely there's a third-party option coming out to replace them. Quality of finish is pretty good. There's a few little things, like there's gaps here that cause the leak, just where they don't quite seal it properly. The same on the other side. Mouldings like that popping up. Little things like that. Attention to detail. They're obviously pumping them out, and this is one of the first ones. So little things. I've mentioned before the chrome grille. Never been a big fan of that. Strangely, after 12 months waiting for a decent bull bar, I'm not as offended by it anymore, but still looking forward to a better option, or a more pleasing aesthetic once I get a bull bar on it. And that's one other thing I don't like about this brand, I guess, is the lack of third-party product support. Aftermarket accessories and options been really slow. Don't know why. They're selling a lot of these utes, but it's been slow. I'm not a fan of this white velour. Yeah, it looks nice, but look at this. I'm already getting fingerprints all over it, and I'm not a tradie anymore. But if I was, bloody hell, this thing would be a mess. It's just bits and pieces here. It's marking and scuffing. Because it's a nice product, but if it's a working ute, and mine isn't, although I've got tools and concrete in the back, it's not going to last that long. We all find these cup holders really deep, but there's a couple of legends out there who've made some product options for it, but what the heck, at least have an insert we could remove from factory. Really? Top of the range diesel, and you don't get a clock. I don't care about the silly dash lights, but that does my head in. Yuck. All right, I just want to duck into the shop, leave the dog in the back seat, but guess what? I have to come in, start the car, if I forgot to do it before I left. So go to the shortcut for the menu, go to in vehicle, cabin monitoring, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 button pushes to stop the alarm going off if I want to leave the dog in the back seat. Surely we could get the in-cabin monitoring as a shortcut like we do for ELK, but you don't get that option. And I always turn it off, particularly when towing, but since the update they've improved that. It doesn't drive me crazy in general use anymore. Not that it drove me crazy before, but it was just too twitchy. And the voice, Betty's voice, now gone, is fantastic. It's worth pointing out too, one of the things I didn't like about this vehicle when I got it was the suspension. The factory suspension was just rubbish. Sloppy shocks. and the tyres and rims are obviously all to a price point, obviously, so they could get this thing to market and sell a few. But stock suspension, rubbish. Here's another good one that we all know so well. If we tow, this camera does not clear the dunny seat. So if you want to hook up your hitch, you know what you got to do. It just doesn't clear it, so you can't see your tow ball. Sure, with the update they've put a directional indicator on there, and yes, that helps. But if you can't see it, distance is hard to judge. So I've done a little short on that, on the shortcut around using your tailgate rope, just so you can see. But really, GWM 2024 it was, you couldn't get that right. So that needs a spacer, just a 3D print or something to step it out a bit. Here she is in all her filthy glory, because she gets used. So that 2.4 motor is, for what it is, quite good. Pulls our van, no problem at all. But gee, I would have loved a 3 litre or the option for something bigger. I know that's not all GWM's fault, but it's the one thing that makes me look over the shoulder of the Alpha to see what else is around the corner or what other option there might be, just for that little bit more power. Yes, it tows our van without issues, all those good things, but on those steep inclines that we all know when you're pulling 3 tonne or thereabouts, you just want to have that little bit more poke in case you need it, and just to take a bit of load off that motor. Now, while we're under here, look at this nonsense. Oh, the wire's too long, we'll just loop it up and do all this sort of carry on. And when you go under the vehicle, you'll see that blue wire is just, it's not protected, it's just strung up with a few cable ties. And it's, I don't want to use the word, it's a family channel. One of the good features is they give you a couple of spare fuse locations. You can see where they're piggybacked up here. Yuck. Not a fan of that, so all of that's got to get reworked. Anyway, I'll calm down. But I've used one because I've got an Anderson installed at the back off a VSR, and still got one free, which is quite good. So thanks GWM. Probably in the diesel they don't use them all. I don't know. Do the HEVs use all fuses? Not sure, but I'm glad there was 2 free. I get asked a bit about this antenna and how I've thrown it on, because when I put it on there were no aftermarket kits for the antenna bracket, so I just found a reasonable bracket from Bunnings and modified it to make it work, because we had a trip coming up. So I've thrown that in pretty loosey-goosey, and now there's some aftermarket brackets that are a lot more sturdier than this stuff. I'll be swapping that over, but the aftermarket one, I believe, attaches to both these bolts, so that's good. It'll be a lot better. This is fine, but I want it more solid, and I'm not prepared to make another one. Okay, one thing that's disappointing, I think, is this screen has a lot more magic behind it. Like there should be a lot more we could access off this that we don't have access to, relating to four-wheel driving, etc. My 2005 Land Rover Discovery 3 showed you the status of your wheels and your diff locks and all these great things. This thing, I am sure, has a lot of magic behind it that's locked. So why? Why? Give us access, GWM.